So I think that anybody who tells you like don't be educated, I really think they're trying to exploit you. It's really easy to exploit the ignorant and the uneducated. So if you take nothing from this video, hey there my handsome and pretty little cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's nest. So today is a video request from Iggy, and Iggy has actually asked me some questions, and I have my computer here, so I'm just gonna go in order because like I don't want to miss anything. And I also want to say thank you to Iggy for the subscriber requests. I really appreciate it. I think that these are great because these are things I wanted to talk about, but like they're all like nicely put. So I got 5 things that I want to talk about. Without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo. Okay, so question 1, how did I get started? So entrepreneurship for me was by accident. Yeah, I got let go of my position and I was like, what do I do now? Like sit on my unemployed butt, and it was so stressful. I don't know if I would recommend entrepreneurship to anybody because it's like it's not easy, and I wouldn't have gotten into this lifestyle either if it wasn't out of necessity. Like necessity is the mother of invention. That's how I got started pretty much. Yeah, like working for myself. Question number 2, how did I become an entrepreneur? I'm like an entrepreneur in my own field, and I do want to say that like I did try entrepreneurship and things outside of my field, but they were not as successful. I've had a lot of success with like staying within my own industry. Some things that I have tried that were not as successful. So my jewelry business, I think I did that for like 6 months. That was a rough 6 months. Also, this YouTube channel is technically a side gig, and that's nowhere near as lucrative as my actual like business. Yeah, I am definitely not of the camp, don't go to school and like start a business. That's just my own personal opinion. I know there's some people who are extremely like wildly successful, and a lot of people use them as like as the exemplars of like, don't go to school, work for yourself. Like I've worked in other industries as well too. Like I've worked for companies and under industries. Like, so I'm highly educated. I went to U of T, the best school in the country. I also went to teachers college. I also went to the 3rd best medical school in China. So I think that anybody who tells you like don't be educated, I really think they're trying to exploit you. It's really easy to exploit the ignorant and the uneducated. So if you take nothing from this video, it's not that I'm saying don't run a business. You definitely should. If you don't know where to start, I think going to school, maybe not university, but just going to school and learning something will give you a tool that no one can take away from you. Because at the end of the day, if you're not even able to like make money with a job, it's not impossible, but it is very hard to run a business if you don't really have any skills. I don't know if that necessarily applies to you. Comment down below. Would you say that you agree? Do you think it's easy? Do you think it's hard? Like, what is your understanding and your belief behind business? Going to school, not going to school? I think it's very controversial and people do have strong opinions. So actually comment down below. I would love to know. One thing I want to say is like, I wouldn't recommend starting a business if you are not even able to manage a career. Like if somebody can't even pay you to do what you need to do, it's not easy to run a business, because like a business is essentially the client paying you. How are they going to pay you if you're not even able to offer value? That's something that I've noticed with like tutoring people on like how to run a business. Sometimes they're like, I just thought I could just run a business. And I was like, okay, a business in what? They're like, I don't know. I just felt like business. And I'm like, that's kind of like saying like, I'm going to go to the store. What's sold at the store? Who knows? Sometimes it's clothes, sometimes it's food, sometimes it's nothing. Who knows? I don't know how necessarily successful that store may be versus like, what do they sell at the grocery store? Food. Okay, that makes sense. I do offer help with that, not shameless self-promotion, but I actually do have a digital course, and I have actually already test run it on some people already that are kind of like wanting to be like entrepreneurs or already have like small businesses. Yeah, I actually was kind of surprised by some of the things that people did know or misconceptions that they had about like actually running a business. I want to write that down in the comments, or actually privately email me at my work email, the Mignon Cobra, if you are actually interested in the digital course. If this is actually you, like, let's hook up, because I'm already helping people, and I'm realizing like if you need a little extra help from a successful entrepreneur, I would love to help. All right, okay, so coming in at question number 3, how do I balance work-life balance? And that is a great question. I currently have, I think, like a decent work-life balance, but I think maybe by other people's standards, it might not be considered like work-life balance. And I'm gonna caveat this. So I do work every single day, and I think for anybody who does actually run like an actual business would know that like it never really turns off. And this might just be a me problem. I do know that when you scale and you get people working under you, it's a little bit different. But in the current stage of where I'm at, a lot of it I do myself. So because of that, yeah, I don't really have a day off. And honestly, it doesn't really bother me. And when I do have time off, like I edit my videos or I make my reels. I personally think that work-life balance is something that employees have. I also feel like working as an employee is also not easy either, because I've been on both sides of the coin. I remember when I was working, I was away from like 6 in the morning and like working all the way to like 11 at night, and then I would like just literally crash, like shower and sleep, crash, wake up, and like do it all over again. It was crazy. And this was on a salary. It didn't matter how hard I worked. It didn't matter. Like that was just the expectation. So I do think that like there is definitely a big bonus. And like just because I've done both, if you are able to sustain a business, the work-life balance, in my opinion, is worth it because you reap all the benefits of it versus a salary job. Doesn't matter how hard you work, doesn't matter how hard you don't work. You're capped at your salary. But for me personally, I personally don't mind how much I have to work. Like for me, like I don't mind not having the weekends off or whatever. For me, like I'll take client calls any time of the day, like 7 a.m. before they go to work, or like 11 at night, Sunday evening. Like to me, money is money, and I'm just so grateful because like I can work for myself. So to me, that seems like a very fair payoff if people would be like, or like accuse me of like, oh, you don't have work-life balance. I think it's a fair trade because I remember working like a mule when I worked for somebody else. All right, coming in at number 4, what is my blueprint? So my blueprint is actually Mr. Money Stash. I have talked about this in some of my earlier videos in the past like 5, 6, 7 years. I have mentioned that my goal originally was to end up something like Mr. Money Stash. I don't know if he's like super popular anymore. He's really popular among engineers and people who are in the fire community. So comment down below if you actually know who Mr. Money Stash is. But essentially he is a Canadian engineer, and he actually fired and he's retired now. He's like the early community. Yeah, his story really inspired me. He said just be frugal and you could fire. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna trust this man. He already did it. And that's what I've been doing. Another book that also kind of inspired my blueprint was The Millionaire Next Door. The book said that the majority of just millionaires, we're not talking like multi-millionaires or billionaires, just $1 million, like just a millionaire. They were like engineers, doctors, teachers, even janitors, just literally working, saving, and investing. And that really motivated me. It said that the average millionaire only makes about like, I mean, this book could be dated. So the book said about 50K. And I thought that was pretty inspiring. I was like, anyone could fire, even like a regular job. Like you don't need to run a business. Running a business is not easy, but I just felt like that framework was just so motivating. One of the reasons why I try to make like investing videos on my channel, because like you don't have to run a business to be good at money, and you can invest. You can just invest. Like you don't need to run a business. But I know that a lot of people don't have that understanding. Mr. Money Stash actually tried a business. He went into a construction business with his friend, and it like crashed and burned horribly. Their friendship didn't make it. But so he says like you don't have to run a business, and I think that that's amazing. I never meant to run a business. I was really inspired by Mr. Money Stash, and I was like, I just want to have a regular job and just like live my best life. I didn't mean to get into entrepreneurship because for me, I think that like you can have a regular job and still become very well off. But, you know, having a business has helped accelerate it. I shouldn't sit here and lie and say that like I wouldn't be where I am. Running a business has helped tremendously. Like I'm not going to sit here and lie, but I think both are possible. Honestly, you have to be really frugal. He was really frugal. He was like 80% frugal. He would save like the majority of what he made. He was living off of like 25K a year. So like it takes an insane amount of discipline. Okay, so coming in at number 5, what's the longevity of my business? So my business, I've been running it for 5 years now. So I would say half a decade is pretty good. The statistics say most businesses crash after between like 3 to 5 years. So I've already passed the safety zone, but I kind of knew I had passed the safety zone after 3 years of doing it. You know, obviously knock on wood, there's no such thing as like, you know, a forever business. I'm not in an industry that's niche. I'll always have a job. So that's a good thing. The other thing is what I learn isn't something that someone could take away from me. It's not like I'll run out of like, there's no more wood, or there's been a decline in production. Like my business doesn't operate on that. It operates on like Think and Grow Rich pretty much. So I'm not super concerned about that. It would be more like we have like a severe declining birth rate situation, then yeah, I think that would definitely impact me. The economy does impact that as well. Yeah, my job does have like high seasons and low seasons, and it is also impacted by like the state of the economy. But the fact that I've managed to get this far, 5 years, half a decade, I'd say like I'm doing something right. That also kind of brings me to the other things that I wanted to talk about in terms of like a business. So like, what do I think keeps any business profitable? Is that like you are offering something that people are like willing to pay for. That's something that I've noticed when like I talk with other people. They have this misconception that like you can run a business in anything. But like you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, like no business, if it's like actually legitimate and you're like not washing money, businesses don't run on charity. Like if nobody goes to a restaurant that has gross food and goes, oh shucks, I just want to support them. No, people work hard for their dollar. If something is nasty or the service is no good, you don't get reoccurring customers. So I think at the end of the day, if your business isn't doing well or going anywhere, the money doesn't lie. People don't part with their hard-earned money willingly, and they won't return if the offer isn't good. So my advice is, like, if you can't figure something in like a year, or if you can't figure something out in that niche and it's just like not working, it just means that people are not willing to pay for that. And like, if you want to be in business, you have to be brutally honest when things are not working out. I think that's kind of the reason why I quit the jewelry business after 6 months. I put in a lot of effort. I bought a lot of product. I paid for the Shopify. I paid for the boxes, the materials, the ribbons, the jewelry itself, paying for the shipping. Like, there was a lot. I was bleeding a lot of money and a lot of cost. And you also have to pay for advertising. So there's a lot of cost that goes into like physical businesses. Once you look at the physical technicalities of it and you have to run the numbers and you have to actually look, I was like, people are not buying my jewelry business. I'm not competitive enough. My prices are too high. The business model is unsustainable. So I've kind of realized that, like, when things, you know, when you look at the technicality of it and you like sit down and you run the numbers with businesses, it doesn't matter how you feel about the business. It really has to do with the with the numbers. The numbers don't lie. And it's just, it's hard because like it like really messes with your ego because you invest like money, time, and I know that it's not easy. So I think that's something that I think a lot of beginner entrepreneurs, the reason some businesses don't get past a certain point is because it's like the numbers don't match and you don't want to see that. What you're offering is not valuable, doesn't match the price point of the client doesn't want it. It's like a bunch of factors, and sometimes you have to take like a hard look because the reason it's not working is because it's not working, right? And you just have to look in the mirror and be like, it's not you. That's why they always have those like quotes about like entrepreneurship. It's like they'll try like 100 things before they succeed. Entrepreneurship is like you have to try things and you have to fail fast. You have to try it, see it's not working, and you need to move forward. You might be wondering then now, why are you still making YouTube videos? This is a hobby. I don't make money off of this. This is like my fun. You know how some people game at the end of work? I like make these. So this is not a business. That's why I can keep it going, because my own actual job and business sustains me. So this is literally just a luxury. But if I had to quit this because I was trying to live off this, I would have stopped making videos once I got monetized. Like that would have been the end of that. And in 2020, I would have just cut this. So yeah, I think that I love business. It has really freed me. You know, honestly, I should end this video on like a really positive note. Now that I've experienced both being like an entrepreneur and like being an employee, which do I think is better? I really like being an entrepreneur. It was a happy accident, but unfortunately I would never ever go back to working for somebody else. It was working for a company. I was like doing like the invoicing and client management and leads and all that good stuff. And oh my God, I forgot what it's like working for a boss. It wasn't even like the work that was like draining. It was definitely draining. It's not easy. None of this is easy. Like I've actually had some more subscribers reach out to me. I actually had one subscriber. I'm not gonna say who, it's no one's business, but they were talking about how like they've been unemployed for 3 years and they've been really trying to make work their business and they've just been bleeding money. And it was such a heartbreaking thing to hear because it was like the things that like when we got to like looking down at the numbers and everything, and I was like, I wish somebody had helped you sooner. So if that is you, comment down below if you'd be interested in the digital course, because like now that I've been seeing like smaller entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who are just getting started and like you're not seeing any success, I would personally love to help, because I just think that like I get it. Because she was telling me, she's like, I don't want to go back to working a job. And I was like, I totally get you. She's like, she used to be, well, I'm not going to mention her previous position, but she's like, I hated how fake the people were. My mental health was awful. And I was like, I totally get it. She's like, I just wish I could work from home. Like what you have is what I want. And I was like, girl, I hear you. So I personally think that like, let me share with you guys. I think I am going to make a sample. I'm going to publish lesson 1 for you guys so you guys can see what the formatting looks like. If you guys are interested, comment that down below. And then I'm thinking of releasing the digital course for after the new year, and I'm going to run it. And I think that that would be pretty good, because I'm realizing that like I'm actually in a really privileged position. I know it sounds super like arrogant, and I want to say this with like true sensitivity and humility. I didn't think what I had was anything special. I genuinely thought, and it sounds so horrible, I really took for granted. I'm always working. I wish my YouTube channel took off. I just wish that like I didn't have to work so hard. But it was like, it could be so much worse. Like I could have nothing at all. And I'm just like, I could actually use my entrepreneurship skills to help my Cobra babies out. So if you're interested, comment that down below. I would love to know. And I want to say thank you so much to Iggy. I hope that these questions could have been informative, or at the very least entertaining, because yeah, I actually never thought that anyone would be interested in hearing what I had to say about entrepreneurship. To me, money is just money. Like who cares? This is so unglamorous. But I'm actually finding this is actually helping me appreciate my own life and my own work circumstances, because yeah, it has been really nice working from home and being financially on the road to financial freedom. So let me share that with you guys. I would love to share that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see my Cobra babies in the next one. Bye.